Hello, this is Bill Scheid from the Systems Lab. Periodically the question comes up, do we look at risk and reward when we're trading the PRX crypto system? We do look at risk and reward, though it's not a function of looking at price levels on charts. That's a very popular way of looking at risk reward. We tend to zoom out and look at risk reward in the context of our trading statistics. And here we have an example. So this is the results of running the PRX crypto system on Bitcoin on a swing basis, daily bars, from 2012 to 2021. And for me personally, there's two statistics that I like to look at when I'm thinking about risk reward. So the first is win-loss ratio, which is simply the average R win divided by the average R loss. So here we see we have an average R win of 12.12. When we divide that by our average R loss of minus 0.77, we get a win-loss ratio of 15.68, which is very high. That's an outstanding number. So that's one way I like to think about risk and reward. So our average R win is 15 times greater than our average R loss. The other way I like to think about risk and reward from our standard statistics here is by looking at profit factor. And profit factor, as you may know, is gross profit divided by gross loss. And here we have a profit factor in our terms of 14.85, which is also a very high number. If you poke around online, you go to places like Investopedia and such, they say, well, look for a profit factor of 2 or greater when you're evaluating your system. So 14.85 is very, very high. And again, it's another way to think about risk and reward. So our gross profit or our gross reward, if you want to say it that way, is 14.85 times greater than our gross loss or our gross risk, if you want to language it like that. Now, going back to the earlier point about looking at risk reward in terms of price levels on charts, that is possible for the PRX system. It's not something that we've researched, and of course you'd want to quantify that and look carefully at how that changes the results of the system, but it is possible. And we'll just take a look through some thoughts and ideas here. So here we have Mana USD altcoin on a swing basis, and in TradingView we have this really excellent tool that gives us a way to look at risk and reward. So we can drag the bottom so it's even to our first PSAR dot in this trade that I actually just entered yesterday. In fact, I'm going to delete the white box for now so it doesn't cause any confusion. And we can take our target to any level we want, and then if you look here, it'll give us our risk to reward. So the question that we would have to answer is, well, what do we think our target might be? You know, is it the prior RL10 high? Is it the swing high here? Is it 2 RL10s ago? Is it 3 RL10 highs ago? So that's something that we'd have to answer if we wanted to systematically study risk and reward in terms of filtering trades. And then we'd also have to define, well, what do we want our risk reward to be? Do we want it to be 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, et cetera, et cetera. One thing that we would also have to look at is what do we do in a case like ICX. This is a trade that I just closed yesterday. If we use our same tool and we put our entry price there and we put our risk level here, we'll see, oh, wait a minute, our entry price is already above the prior swing high. So then we would have to answer the question, well, how far back do we want to go when we're looking at this? Do we go, back to the August one? Do we go back to June, et cetera, et cetera? So it gets a little bit complicated. And just one other thing we would have to think about here in terms of quantifying and systematizing this, this is GRT USD. Again, I'm going to delete this white box. I just opened this trade yesterday. But for example, we would have to define exactly what are we going to use to define that previous high? So are we going to use the RL10, or would we use, for example, the high, low, open, close of one of these bars? And if we decide to use the high, one thing we'd have to keep in mind, as you can see with this symbol, is sometimes we get really, really big tails or wicks, if we're looking at candles, if we want to call it that. So if we use that, then look, our risk reward ratio becomes 22.95. So it's not impossible to use risk and reward using price levels on charts with the PRX crypto system. There's just a number of variables that we would have to define clearly if we wanted to quantify the impact of a risk reward rule on the overall system outcome. And two things to keep in mind. So one of the beliefs behind the PRX crypto system is the belief that simplicity is an edge. So we'd be adding some complexity here. And the other belief is that trends in crypto can run much farther than we would ever imagine. And I think all of us can think of examples where that's happened in cryptocurrency before. So even our best guess at risk reward ratio might be just completely PFA, pulled from the air or pulled from something else that starts with an A. So you get the point. So yes, it is possible to do on the charts, but we tend to think of it more based on statistics, at least in terms of how the rule set is reflected at this point in time. So thanks for watching and happy trading.